The coronavirus pandemic has a lot of us thinking extra hard about our immune systems. Do we have what it takes to naturally fight off the virus? Can what we eat and maybe the supplements we take boost our immune system to the next level? We're going to have a great discussion about that with Dr. Deepa Verma with Synergistic Integrative Health. So, Dr. Verma, just so everybody knows where you're coming from, what type of health care do you practice?
So I am a double board certified MD. I am trained in family medicine, and then I have my additional certification in integrative medicine, which is combining traditional and a little more alternative medicine and using those modalities together.
All right, Dr. Verma, I'm going to use a little bit of humor because I think that people can relate to it. I
Sure.
look at memes on Facebook and I watch a lot of YouTube videos. So I'd like to
Mhm.
think of myself as an amateur immunologist, kind of an amateur health expert. That makes me a little bit dangerous. I know just
Yeah.
enough to make myself dangerous. So when I start asking you some questions today, I want you and everybody out there to have a little sense of humor about this
Yeah.
because health is so complicated. We've all got theories about what we can do to make ourselves stronger. So with the coronavirus, again, we're all thinking we've got to boost our immune system so we can be strong and fight off the virus if it comes after us. So what's the number one thing, maybe nutrition-wise, that people should be thinking about?
I mean, hands down, immunity, no matter what we talk about, especially in the COVID epidemic, is going to be immunity. So when we're talking about nutrition, we're looking at things that are going to be full of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. That's the way you can boost your immune system because that accentuates the cellular processes which make those cells robust so they can fight off any pathogens, which would include viruses, bacteria, parasites. But what I do want to say first is the viruses are not living molecules, they are inactive chemical molecules, basically. They're these virions that need to attach to a human living cell or an animal cell and hijack its machinery. If you start off with a poor immune system, you are going to allow these virion particles to hijack the machinery. And that is where immunity comes in. It's boosting, looking at the cellular level. And without that process going on, because you have a lack of micronutrients, which includes vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, you're going to be more susceptible to getting infected.
So doctor, just so we can keep this simple here, give people a
Mhm.
couple of ideas that foods that they should be eating to boost their immune system.
So we always say you are what you eat. I always say use food as your medicine and medicine as your food. That's first and foremost before we're looking at other measures. Foods would be looking at a whole food plant-based diet. If you can't be completely plant-based, that's understandable, but limiting consumption of inflammatory foods, which would mainly include animal products. So lowering your consumption of meats, dairy, and eggs. I know it's hard because we've been raised and conditioned to have meat and dairy in our diets every day for every meal. But studies have found, and we're moving more towards a plant based lifestyle, where those are the types of foods that increase your risks of inflammation, cancer, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and also autoimmune disease and lowering the immune system. So you want to look at fresh fruits and vegetables, beans, legumes, lentils, whole grains, things that we get from Mother Earth that we're able to harvest and that we can use for ourselves. And limiting the amount of processed foods. If you can't read the ingredient and can't pronounce it, don't use it.
So I want to bring up kind of an old school example that may not be with viruses exactly, but
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, a lot of sailors were on ships for months at a time. They didn't have
Yep.
great nutrition, and there's a nickname for the British sailors. They're called limeys. They actually
Yep.
sucked on limes so they didn't get scurvy.
Correct. That's vitamin C deficiency. So even back then, we're looking at a deficiency in vitamin C, lowering the immune system. And what would happen is their gums would start bleeding, their teeth would fall out. Vitamin C is crucial for collagen production and maintenance of the mucosal lining. Our gut health is super important. It's all about the mucosa. And when we have things like leaky gut and inflammation in the gut and autoimmune disease, we're compromising the integrity of that lining. And the gut starts with your mouth and ends at your rectum. And it's an impermeable hollow tube. It has its functions, and each part from the mouth to the esophagus to the stomach to the intestines have a very specific role. And we compromise any of those mechanisms, we're going to be more susceptible to getting infected. So things like vitamin C are going to be crucial, and doing things like high dose vitamin C and IVs and getting the proper supplements are going to only augment that. We have to first look at diet, of course, but those are supplements.
So I read a really long story about nutrition and our immune systems, and at the very bottom there was something like, well, we're really not sure if it makes any difference. What do you think?
So, from what I see in my patients in my practice, it does make a difference. I think when we use those kind of phrases, we probably don't have enough evidence. When we want to say something and make a claim, you have to have enough scientific evidence and research and studies. And most likely, there were not enough clinical trials. We didn't have a large enough population to test it on. But at the end of the day, from my experience in doing this for several years, I've been a physician for over 20 years and doing this integrative medicine for over 7 years. What I see in my patients who do follow a cleaner diet, take their supplements, and follow good nutritional habits are the people who fall ill much less than the people who don't follow a certain regimen in terms of eating clean and taking their supplements. I am doing my kind of own mini study, and since this pandemic started, I have not closed my office. I've been open through it and been super busy. And one of the goals I have been trying to attain is how many people can I see that I can boost their immune system enough that are not going to fall sick? And hands down, it's a very, very high percentage. I mean, it's almost close to perfection. The people who do boost their immune system are the ones that I'm seeing are not falling sick. So it is
Yeah.
from personal experience. So, you're going to read a lot of articles. That's a problem. And, the internet can be a dangerous place. But for me as a physician, it's important to present the proper information and make sure there are scientific studies to back it up.
All right, Dr. Deepa Verma, thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thanks, Rick.